Hello and good afternoon, my fellow Call of Duty gaming professionals. Hope you all had a great week. And before we start rolling on with this video, I just want to say a big welcome to everyone who got introduced here from Drifter's video showcasing that overpowered vehicle strategy. My channel went from just 11 subscribers who, to be honest, half of them were my family anyways, so it doesn't really count, to now over 200. And although that's still not a huge amount in the grand scheme of things on YouTube, it does feel like a massive jump for me. So thank you very much to all of you, whether you were introduced here by Drifter or whether you found my videos in another way. Okay, so now onto the video, which is going to be all about the new Galil, or CR56 AMAX as it's officially called. And man, has this gun been hyped up a lot before it was officially released. And I've seen several other channels on YouTube just really praise this gun, with some people even calling it overpowered or the new replacement for the Grau 556. And of course, I got very curious, so over the last couple of weeks, I've been using this gun pretty much every day in Warzone, whenever I had free time, so I can get an honest feel for the gun, and confidently tell you guys what I think of it. So, admittedly, I've released this video a bit late, because the gun has been out for a while now, I'll admit, but after grinding through with it, I think the best way I can describe it is, it's a mixed bag for me. Because, on the one hand, there are some situations where I know I won that gunfight because of the Galil's very fast time to kill. And there are other situations, perhaps more situations, where I'm thinking, I dunno, maybe if I had a Grau or an M4 I probably would have got that kill instead. But first, let's talk about the main thing that makes the Galil stand out from all the other assault rifles in Warzone. And that's its ridiculously fast time to kill of 476 milliseconds against someone with 3 armor plates, if you are hitting your opponent in the upper chest. Now, this is just really fast. It's the fastest of all the assault rifles, and even all the SMGs in the game. The MP5, for instance, has a time to kill of 504 milliseconds, so this just really goes to show you the sheer killing power of this brand new Galil. But please be aware, this doesn't mean it's a better gun for close range than the MP5. The MP5 has better movement speed, better aim down sight speed, better hip fire, and better sprint to fire speed, which means you'll be able to often get the first shot off a lot quicker and strafe side to side better in a close range gunfight. So I would still take the MP5 or the Fennec over the Galil in close quarters, but for an assault rifle, the Galil certainly can be used confidently in close range gunfights, and it does outperform all the other assault rifles in that regard. Alright, so with all that being said, so far I'm making it sound like the Galil is really overpowered, and at this point you're probably thinking that it might even be better than the Grau 556. And whilst I would agree that it's definitely better for close range, unfortunately, overall I do think that the Grau is the better gun in its current state, because it's just so much easier to use and a lot more versatile. The Galil has some pretty big downsides in Warzone, I hate to admit, which are pretty significant, and in fact, these are pretty big downsides, so if my life was on the line or something and I had to just go full-on sweat mode, I just wouldn't be comfortable using the Galil for the majority of the match over the current other top meta guns, which include the Grau, the M4, and the N13. And it's really because of these two main downsides on the Galil, which are, firstly, its low fire rate of only 630 rounds per minute, and secondly, its high vertical recoil. Okay, actually, the vertical recoil isn't really that terrible, but if you compare it to the Grau, which has almost no recoil, it's actually pretty bad. And in the current meta of Warzone, especially with a lot of the really competitive COD players and pros who are trying to break kill records and things like that, they tend to favor good fire rate and very low recoil, long-range accuracy in their assault rifles pretty much over anything else. Which is why something like the Grau is so popular, even though it has a very bad time to kill of only 640 milliseconds. And certainly in my lobbies, I haven't really noticed others using the Galil, which is odd because it's been out for a while now, so I would have thought that more people would want to be trying it out, but apparently not. I still pretty much just see everyone using the Grau and the M4 and those kind of guns. So, with that being said though, the Grau is gonna get a nerf in the near future. We just don't know when, so the meta could be shaken up a bit after that. Just keep that in mind. And from my personal experience with using the Galil, when I'm trying to shoot someone at medium to long range, like, usually there would be several situations where I'd start shooting at them first, but then they'll just turn around and quickly laser me in full auto with the Grau or an M4, for example. And in those situations, I know that if I was using the Grau, I probably would have survived and got the kill. And that's because, firstly, the low rate of fire of the Galil means that if you miss your shots, it will be very punishing to your time to kill. So you've got to be very accurate with it. And if you want to take advantage of that super fast time to kill, you do need to be hitting at least the chest area, which is not always possible to pull off consistently. It's also much harder to land hits on moving targets or on someone who is strafing left to right at a distance, because with the M4 or the Grau, for example, the higher fire rate means that even if you mistakenly swing the gun side to side and your crosshairs aren't perfectly aligned with your enemy, chances are some of your bullets will still connect and do damage, whereas with the Galil that is less likely to happen. This also means that in those medium-range gunfights, you'll be more likely to suffer flinch from bullet impacts than your opponent who is using a Grau, which can cause you to miss 1 or 2 bullets and lose that gunfight. And yes, I know, I do realize I'm comparing the Galil to the Grau quite a lot in this video, when technically it is most similar to the AK-47. But that's because, as I've mentioned earlier, I've seen many other channels claim that the Galil might be better than the Grau, so I think this is what most people are probably wondering at the moment. It would also be a bit pointless for me to compare this to the AK, because the AK is considered to be a pretty bad weapon in Warzone, in its current state anyway, and so people tend not to use it. So, with all that said and done, the one situation in Warzone where I think the Galil clearly outshines the Grau and all the other assault rifles is when the final circle is closing in on somewhere with a lot of buildings and cover, and there's very little open space for people to run around, like, say, in downtown for instance. That's where I'd be comfortable getting a loadout crate and using the Galil. And just to be clear with you all, the Galil is actually pretty decent at medium range, even though I kinda made it sound like it wasn't. But it's just that when you compare it to the M13, the M4, and especially the Grau, that's where it really falls short. And when I'm going full-on sweat mode and I want to use an assault rifle, I really want to pick one that it's best for medium range, and I think most people would do too. So unless those top 3 assault rifles gets a big nerf in the near future, I don't think you will see many people running the Galil in Warzone. Okay, so with all that out of the way, the overall class setup that worked the best for me, and I think that will work the best for most people, is the monolithic suppressor, Zodiac barrel, tac laser, Merc foregrip, and 45 round extended mags. Now, you'll want to use the Merc foregrip over the Commando because the Galil has very little side-to-side recoil, so the Merc foregrip will help control that vertical recoil with an added benefit of hipfire accuracy. And fortunately, the 45 round extended mags, compared to the other 60 round extended mags on the other assault rifles at least, it doesn't feel like a major drawback as I thought it would, because the Galil's lower rate of fire makes the 45 round mags last close to as long as the M4 or Grau's 60 round mags, so it doesn't feel like a major drawback. So just keep that in mind. Now, I do also have a pretty high risk class setup for this that will make the Galil a lot better at medium range and was actually quite decent. But it does come at the cost of sacrificing the monolithic suppressor to use a compensator instead, and replacing the tac laser with the VLK optic. Now this is high risk, because you will appear on the minimap when you fire a weapon, but if you are doing the truck thing, then being on the minimap isn't as important if you're driving around in the truck, since it's revealed to everyone anyways. So yeah, this setup makes it a lot better for medium range, and I could actually quite decently challenge people that were using the Grau at medium range when using this setup, but just keep that in mind that it's high risk. And just in case some of you don't know, the reason I'm recommending the VLK optic over the other ones with the zoom function is because it has the least negative impact on your aim down sight speed for some reason. So unless that gets changed, I just wouldn't touch those other hybrid sights or zoom sights on your assault rifles. Anyway, this wraps it up for this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Galil and if you've tried it out in Warzone, so feel free to comment below on that. I hope you enjoyed the content, and if you did, please hit the like and subscribe button. I appreciate it a lot. And yeah, I hope to see you guys in the next video, so thanks and stay safe.